Welcome back, dear viewers. She is an Egyptian-American actress. She won the beauty contest of 2018 in Los Angeles. She has participated in more than 50 films. She works in American cinema and theater. She has started a film, she starred rather a film that is awaited in Egypt with Leonardo DiCaprio, and she is one of the guests of honors of the Cairo Film Festival, which, dear viewers, we know is in action nowadays, and it's the 41st session of the Cairo International Film Festival. She's also a model, and dear viewers, she's a role model to all, of course, her age category. And she is Ghadeer Mounib, actress and Hollywood star. A very good day, and it's a pleasure to have you with us in today's episode of Nile Cruise.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hello, Ghadeer. You're very young. How old are you?
I don't think an actress is really allowed to say how old she is in Hollywood. It's not a question.
But already 50 films. I mean, that's that's a good toll.
I've been working professionally as an actress for over 10 years now. A lot of the things that I've been involved in aren't necessarily commercial, so they're not necessarily broadcasted on Hollywood. But I've done a lot of short films, student films, theatrical productions. So
certainly, the film with Leonardo DiCaprio, A Playground, is one of the highlights, right? Talk to us about that.
The Playground, yes, is definitely one of the highlights. It was one of my first feature films where I played the lead, and my director was an amazing director. In fact, he won at the Cairo Film Festival a couple of years ago for another film that he was in, and he's really great. Recently, I got a small role in the Quentin Tarantino film which is called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which had Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Al Pacino, and I was very lucky to be on there for 2 weeks watching the professionals work, you know, and I had a very small role on camera, and it was really an amazing experience.
Okay, Ghadeer, you have made, of course, your dream come true when you arrived to the United States long years ago.
Yes.
With your family, of course. When was this, and what are your memories about Egypt, and how long did you stay in the United States of America?
We first moved to the States in the year 2002. I was born in Cairo, but we left when I was 3 years old. We often visited back and forth because, of course, my grandparents and my aunts and uncles are still here. So we used to visit for the holidays and vacations from school, come back here. And, of course, the biggest memory I have was gathering all my cousins together every year, and we'd have to make some kind of performance for my grandparents, doing skits and songs and our favorite scenes from movies, and we'd gather every New Year's. My grandfather would provide the fireworks, and we'd provide the show, and it became a family tradition, which was really always something that I look forward to.
We understand that you're an engineer, is that right? You
Yeah,
studied architecture?
Architecture, that's correct.
Right.
Yes.
So I mean, the swing. I mean, tell us about that.
Let me tell you something. I started off acting when I was 10 years old. That was always something that I did. But for some reason, even though I got accepted in very prestigious schools for acting, I wanted to do something with science and mechanics. I was so intrigued by that kind of thing. And I'm a very artistic and historical person, so architecture ended up being my major, while still having the focus in architecture, but still studying acting and theater. And I went to California initially for architecture. And then 10 years ago, I decided to make the switch, and that was when I decided I was going to do acting full-time professionally.
What do you consider as the remarkable stages in your career, Ghadeer?
I would have to say that one of the biggest productions I was involved in, which I was a producer in, and the lead star was a...
So you produce as well, sorry
Correct,
to interrupt.
yes. No, not at all.
So it's acting, architecture, and producing.
Look, when I go into something, I like to understand how it works. So when I started acting, I was really curious about what happens behind the camera, what it takes to put on a production. And so, I went into producing and writing and directing, and I really enjoyed producing because I'm a very organized person, and so I had to learn how to do that. And so one of the biggest productions I was very lucky to be involved in was a Greek tragedy called Medea. I played the lead, and I was in production for it for 9 months, which was a huge feat, but it was an amazing production in California. And like I said, I've also been in a couple of well-known commercials for, you know, Prada and Mini Coupe and Nintendo, some of the commercials that happen in California. A lot of people ask me if I prefer stage or film, and as an actress, I can't choose one over the other. You know, they're both very important works, and they're different worlds, and I don't see myself ever quitting one or the other.
Yes, Ghadeer, you're also a model, right? I mean,
Correct.
so you started modeling before acting?
No, like I said, I've been acting since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
So I was acting on stage, and then when I was in architecture, the opportunity happened to present itself, and I thought I'd try modeling just to see what it's about, what it's like, and learn about it, you know. And so I did that for a few years, and I learned a lot. But I feel like with modeling, there is kind of a dead end. You learn everything about modeling, and then it's done. There's not so much growing you can do. With film and cinema and acting, you're always learning new things, and you're always learning new techniques. And like I said before, in front of and behind the camera, there's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to accomplish. So
Do you still model?
occasionally, yes, sometimes.
Okay, so a lot of creativity definitely in your job. I mean, whether as an actor or as a producer. I'm not going to ask you which you prefer, but which is tougher, which is more difficult, which is more stressful.
Look, I had my own nonprofit production company. And so all I did was producing, and initially it was to create opportunities for myself to act more, and so I created an entire production company. And that is a full-time job. It's really tough. You're constantly on. There's no off hours. But then once I got representation in LA, I decided to give up the production company and go constantly into acting. I can't say which is tougher, because they're both tough in their own ways. In acting, you're constantly looking for the next job and the next connection and the next, you know, you're constantly on the hunt. And for producing, you're always having to do the next, you know, you're always planning the next production and making opportunities available for other artists. I would have to say that they're both great for collaborating with other creatives, which is great.
What are the challenges that you faced, Ghadeer?
The challenges that I faced in general or as an actress?
In general and as an actress.
As an actress, I would say it's always tough, I think, to break into the acting industry. The most common thing, especially in Hollywood, is if you don't know somebody, then you can't get in. There's a lot of references, your referrals rather, that gets you into movies and into big agencies, and you have to know somebody.
And is that the case?
It is. It is the case. There's a lot of referrals, but unfortunately, it's not always based on talent, which is really sad, because there's a lot of very talented people out there, and it's very tough for them to even just promote themselves just by showing their work and how talented they are.
You said that because that was my next question. So talent doesn't necessarily impose itself.
It doesn't, unfortunately. However, it doesn't matter who referred you. If you are good, the talent will carry you further. If you are not good and you were just, you know,
You have to stop.
You have to. Nobody's going to pick you up anymore. You're not going to keep getting
But you
hired.
could be talented and never get the chance.
100%. Yes, you need a lot of luck, and you not constantly need to be networking and going to events. And yes, you have to be talented and persist, because you could never get the chance, like you said.
Ghadeer, as an Egyptian,
It's
how
Ghadeer.
did you
Ghadeer.
how did you get into the world of cinema in Hollywood as an Egyptian, and the challenges that faced you?
Honestly, it's very funny, because everybody who saw me and works with me always say, "Oh, you're an Egyptian. That's so exotic. That's amazing. Everybody's going to love you." And I'm like, okay, where are the opportunities? I'm waiting. Where? So it's still tough. You still have to stand out from the crowd, because while Hollywood is trying to concentrate now on diversity, which is great for us, it's not just white people playing everybody. It's wonderful. It's still tough to stand out from the crowd. It's still, everybody's doing their job, and there is so much saturation of talent and people who honestly take up space just by being available. Yeah, okay, well, let's try acting. Why not? And then they take up the space for people who have been working for 10, 20 years trying to make it, and work as a full-time. So it's always definitely a challenge to be in the market and to continue working. And I think the only thing I could say is keep creating your own projects. That's what I do. With my friends, we write our own scripts. We will write something and we'll film it and we'll put it on YouTube or something, just to keep working for ourselves.
So I know it's a difficult question and it may need a diplomatic answer, but it's up to you.
Tell me.
So, because you produced in Hollywood, so
Correct.
did you find, I'm referring to the people you said who are taking us up space. So are you claiming that some of those who are in Hollywood simply do not deserve to be there? Or is that, or you're just saying that because they are taking the space of other people, but on their own merit? Do you find a lot? I'm sure there are a few, but do you find a good percentage who in your view as an artist, and you are entitled to your own independent view, so do you find actresses and actresses that you think they don't belong here?
Now, I'm not talking about celebrities and people who work professionally. I'm talking at the beginning level. There's a lot of people who I would say, yes, just come up with the idea, yeah, maybe I'll try acting, so let's move to Hollywood. Where there's other people who have worked...
Those who have the connections, the ones who...
And sometimes have connections, sometimes they just take up
Not
space.
necessarily. And
Not
she said if,
necessarily.
at the end, the talent is
of
the
course.
talent overwhelms.
Yeah.
Of course, the talent overwhelms, and the talent always carries you if you presented the opportunity. But I would definitely have to say that there are people there who take up... I would say... I have met these people. I've met people who decided that, okay, why not try LA, try Hollywood, and they've never studied acting. They've never been in the industry before. And so they're still learning, but they're trying to be taken as seriously as a professional who has been working. Do you see what I mean? There are lots of people who have been working in their industry, in their towns, and have developed their names and have developed their skills, and then come to Hollywood prepared to work at a
And the real
professional
problem
level.
here is that they are taking the space of others who may never get the chance and might be very talented.
Correct. The ones who have never studied and then try to be taken professionally and seriously in an audition, with meetings with producers, and hype themselves up to...
But do you think studying is a necessity, or could there be, an overwhelming talent that imposes itself regardless of studying?
Look, a natural talent is always good. Some people have it, and it's great. But there's always a level of education that you need, because you just understanding your own angles even. Everybody has to learn their own angles on a camera, on stage. Some skills that are not around in natural life. You have to understand how to work with a camera. You have to understand how to work, on a stage. It is something I believe you have to learn, even if it's not skills that you will use in your profession, even if it's, like learning how to project, or learning how to, how other actors break down a script. It might not be the way you do it, but it's always good to learn from others, and because the different techniques that exist for a reason. They've helped other people. And I believe as an artist, it's always good to learn other techniques and how other people have done it, and you just take the little bits that work for you.
Okay, Ghadeer, tell us about your participation in the Cairo Film Festival, of course, in its 41st session.
Yes.
And are you here in Cairo nowadays in Egypt because of the Cairo International Film Festival?
100. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I'm very excited to be back. I haven't been back in about 17 years, honestly. I've been focusing on my work and my career in California, but
So you haven't been back in 17 years?
Correct.
17 years?
17 years.
It's your first time in 17 years here in Cairo.
Yes.
What about your cousins and family?
We're all over the place. I have cousins in Belgium, in Vancouver, in Qatar. We're all over the place, so it's hard to keep visiting, everybody. And social media now, it's easy to, everybody's connected, But I was invited by the Minister of Culture, Dr. Ines Abdeldaim, yes, who was very kind to send me an invitation. I want to thank her so
It's
much.
very nice
It was
of.
so kind of her to invite me and show me what the festival is about over here. I've never attended the Cairo International Festival.
How did you see the Cairo International Film Festival from your own perspective?
I was immensely surprised and overwhelmed by the quality of films that are presented and the energy of the people who are there. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to know who else is there. It was so beautiful. And the red carpet, so beautifully organized. I got to also do an interview on the red carpet with DMC, I believe, with one of the channels.
Yeah, no.
Oh, sorry. Oh, we don't say any other channels. Sorry.
If we come to compare the Cairo International
Yes.
Film Festival, which you attended,
Yes.
or you're attending recently.
Still
here in
2 more days,
Cairo.
I believe. Yeah.
Yes, it ends on the 29th. It ends tomorrow.
Correct.
How do we compare it to a film festival in Hollywood?
I would say that the film festival here in Cairo is more diverse than some of the festivals I've seen in California. There's people from all over the world, and there's really good quality films. I'm really impressed. A lot of the smaller festivals, sometimes everybody's there as a filmmaker with their friends and family just to celebrate their own film and then move on, you know? But here, everybody really wants us to learn about everybody else's talent and where they come from and what they do. It was really inclusive and beautiful. I'm so glad I got the chance to come and see it.
Ghadeer, you went to the States when you were very young, at a very young age. So it's good that you still speak Arabic, and we talk together, so you speak good Arabic. My question
Thank
is,
you.
did you watch Egyptian movies, black and white movies, recent movies, TV series, and so on? Or is your cinema and theater, TV culture simply Western?
No, I grew up on the Arabic Egyptian films, the black and white. I love those movies.
So
the
who do you
songs, love? Fatin Hamama, Omar Sharif, all these people. This is what I grew up on. Abdul Halim Hafiz. Everybody tells me Abdul Halim Hafiz is only a singer, but it's not true. He acted,
Yeah.
and I loved his movies, you know?
Of course.
Mary Mounib, all these people. Unfortunately, I'm not current with some of the stuff that's happening now, but after coming here this time, I can't wait to learn about some of the new cinemas that have come out, the new TVs. I'm really
And who are your
interested.
favorite Hollywood stars?
Favorite Hollywood stars? I would say I'm really impressed by the transition that Angelina Jolie did from acting to directing. Very impressive. I'm so proud of her work. It's amazing. Charlize Theron, of course. I think she's a great actress that I would love to emulate. I would love to one day work with the Coen brothers and Seth MacFarlane and so many others.
Which Egyptian actor or actress really impresses you, Gharid?
Like I said, unfortunately, I'm not really current with the Egyptian film and cinema currently. I'd have to catch up a little bit on that, then come back to you with an answer.
Black and white.
Yeah, it's all
Fatin
Fatin
Hamama,
White. And Saad Hosni.
Of course.
Did she-
I was
did
waiting
she-
for you to
Yeah, I
say
love
that.
Saad
Does Saad
Hosni.
Yeah,
Hosni
of course.
inspire you?
Oh, absolutely. I watch her صغيرة على الحب. It's one of my favorite movies, and I'm so jealous of that role. I want to play
you know,
it so bad.
When Ghadeer said, Rana, Abdul Halim Hafiz is not simply a singer, she's absolutely right. I mean, all those who really understand it, the audience would tell you he's the best actor-singer or singer-actor in the history of Arab cinema. And I was surprised you didn't mention Saad Hosni, so I'm glad you mentioned
No,
that.
you're right.
Because I guess, Rana, she's everybody's favorite,
Yes,
isn't
exactly.
she?
Is that right?
But
Yeah, she
Abdul
is.
Halim is one of the best because we have also Mohammed Fawzi, which was
Okay.
a legend. We have Mohammed Abdul Wahab, of course.
Okay.
All of those used to act and sing. Of course, singing was their first, but they were great when it came to acting. Layla Murad.
Yeah, of course.
So many. There's so much talent in Egypt, of
Exactly,
course.
exactly.
Of
So,
course.
so it's good to know that the rich black and white Egyptian and Arab cinema helped shape your career in art.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Definitely, sure.
Of course, Ghareed, it was a pleasure to have you with us. In
Ghadeer,
today's
Mounib,
episode.
it's been a great pleasure.
Really,
It-
you made our day.
The
It
pleasure
was
was
a really
mine.
impressive interview. Thank you for being in Egypt. Thank you for always coming to Egypt, and we hope we always have role models like you to represent Egypt abroad. Of course, it's a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank
Mohammed,
you
do
so
wanna say
much.
something?
No, yeah, I wanted to ask her a question actually,
Oh.
because I think this is
After
gonna come up one day. I'm sure that one day, if it hasn't happened already, and again, you're very young, so the chance will come to you, and people will ask you, "We want you to play here to play a role in Arab, in Egyptian
In
cinema,
Egypt.
and an Egyptian and Arab series and movies." What's your response?
Look,
First of all, has it happened? And are you ready for the day it happens? Because it most probably will.
you think it most probably will?
Yeah.
Look, I'm here for the festival, but I'm sure if a role presented itself in my home country, I'm sure I can't say no.
And then you'll be proud to Egypt, and you're always proud to Egypt. We're proud of you in today's episode of Nile Cruise, Ghareed.
Thank you so
Mounib,
much.
And it's a pleasure to have you. We hope to have you always in Egypt, and we hope one day you make a role in Egypt, and of course in an Egyptian cinema production.
Thank you.
That will add, of course, pride
So
to
keep
us,
practicing your
and-
Arabic then.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
you have to keep practicing Arabic, because Arabic is very important.
I do. I'm very fluent. We spoke
Oh
earlier.
yeah,
and
very little accent, very small accent.
Thank you. I will work on it. I'll work on my accent.
Thank you so
Work on
much.
Thank
it.
you, Ghadeer. It's been a
Thank
great
you.
pleasure.
It's a pleasure
Thank
of
you.
mine.
Dear viewers, this was Ghadeer Mounib. Stay with us, and we'll be back again with Nile Cruise.